Right. That's good. So Yisrael there, you just pulled it up. Yeah. Okay, that's pretty good. Zoom it out. Zoom it out. Oh, there you go. Okay. Stop.
We have to start?
Geh weiter.
So we can start?
Geh.
So we're learning this evening. We're learning this evening the Sikha from the Rebbe of Parshas Beshalach and Yud Shvat, Toshin on Beis, Shabbos Shira, the Kama Milas B'inyan Zeh that we'll see as we progress. And the learning is Beis Hashem taking place in the Beis Knesset, Tzemach Tzedek, B'Ir HaKodesh, Ir Atika, B'Ir HaKodesh Tzfat. And this evening is Moitzoi Yud Aleph Shvat, Yud Beis Shvat, Toshin Ein Tet. And we welcome all those taking part in this year. And you can never tell. All of a sudden, one of the people in Chabad phoned me up the other day, and he thanked me for the class, or the short for bringing, or so I said, which one are you referring to? And he said, the one on Thursday night, it was very good. So you can never tell who comes in. So we begin now the Rebbe's amazing Sikha. The Yud Shvat Hashanah, that's to say, Toshin Nun Beis was the same Kriyas that we have now. Yud Shvat was on Yom Revi'i, and Yud Aleph on Yom Chamishi, and Shabbos is Yud Gimel Shvat. So that was exactly the same Kriyas when the Rebbe said the Sikha. The Yud Shvat Hashanah, Yish Kama Milas Teves Mitzad HaYom B'Shavua Boi Hu Chal Yom Revi'i. Yom Revi'i Yeshna Maila Miyuchedet. What language am I talking in?
English.
So he said, Yom Revi'i has a very special Maila, Bekach Sheboi has very special supremacy, Bekach Sheboi Nivru Hashemesh V'Yoreyach. And therefore it's brought down in the Torah, in the Shiva Shemai Bereshis, that the Evester made the Shnei Ma'oros HaGedolim. That was on Yom Revi'i. And our sages use the expression, B'Yom Revi'i Nitlu HaMe'oros. With a top, Nitlu, they were hung up in the heavens, as it were, the Ma'oros, referring to the Shnei, thank you, Yuda, referring to the Shnei HaMe'oros HaGedolim. So that's the etzem creation of the Shnei luminaries, the two great luminaries, Shem and V'Yoreyach. Noisef Lakach, in addition to that, יש לי מיילו יום רביעי, יש לי מיילו מיוחד בכך שהוא מהווה את תחילת האחרונה ליום השבת. And the Gemara brings him a set shocking right near the end that Yom Revi'i is called Kamei Shabbat. It's like the beginning of the pre-Shabbos period. It's Kamei, the Shabbat. And it mentions like Yom Revi'i, Chamishi, Shishi, all like one period, they're like one actors together. And also it's brought down Bekama Mekemas in Pnimis HaTorah, this whole idea that Wednesday is like the beginning of Shabbat. So it's the beginning of the whole preparation. What therefore it's well known, the famous epigram brought down near the beginning of the Sefer HaYom Yom, but the Rebbe brings down Beneged to the is everything all right here? To the Shir Shel Yom of Wednesday. What we finished with the two psukim l'chun rana no l'Hashem no ria l'Hashem keli sheinu, and then we finish off that those two psukim are the first two psukim of Kabbalah Shabbat. And it's well known that in Yiddish there was a phrase saying that Wednesday is a kleiner l'chun rana no. It's a small portion of the Haftorah of the Shabbos, because it's already the beginning, Lamaisa, also of the preparation for Shabbos. So Nimtza, that on Yom Revi'i, you've already got, as it were, the beginning of the whole Kabbalah Shabbos. Hanema b'shleimusay b'yom HaShabbos. What that we only say, like a lead-in, to indicate that we're beginning the holy name of Shabbos, and that's the Lachuna Ramnod, but on Shabbos we say the whole thing, the whole Mizmor altogether. So he said, My Lazu, or that particular very special elevation and supremacy in Yom Revi'i, My Lazu Tudgash B'miyuched B'Shabbos HaKorei Parshas Beshalach. So the Rebbe said that this advantage of Yom Revi'i is going to be felt and, how one can say, emphasized very much in the coming Shabbos, which is Parshas Beshalach, and the great Gam Shabbos Shiro, that the whole of Parshas Beshalach, according to Minhag Yisrael, very early Minhag by Yidden, to call the whole Shabbos Parshas Beshalach, Shabbos Shira, al Shem the Shira Sayam, which occurs Behemshech Parshas Beshalach. Biglal Shira Sayam Amofiyah B'Parsha, what that occurs, therefore it's a minute to call it Shabbos Shira. So the Rebbe said, Shira B'Klal Mahava Aliyas Hamadrega. The whole Inan of a Shir indicates the Inan of Aliyah. A person becomes in a state of giving forth Shir when he's in a state of going upwards spiritually and even physically, because the effect of that spiritual neshama, aliyah, affects him even physically, that he's in an elevation. So he said that's the whole idea of a shia. And therefore it's well known, the famous pshat, which is brought down in Sudas, what the Alter Rebbe once said is, during a big public argument that he had with whole group, very big Mishnadis or Rabbonim. When that is, there's a Mishnah in the Lat of Prochim of Shabbos, where it's written that Kol Bali Hashir Yoitzim V'Nimshochim Bashir. And that means, very poshut, that if you have an animal and you want to take it out into the Rishus Harabim, it's not allowed to have a dog which is a masor. Because just like you're forbidden to carry anything which is a carrying from Rishus HaYochid to Rishus Harabim, then you're forbidden to do that with your animal as well. But if he has something on him which is like part of him, and it's like a, how would you call it, a fixed part of him, and it's like almost like you might call it, it decorates him or illustrates him for what he really is, then it's okay. It's not considered a carrying. And so therefore he says that in those days a lot of the behemoths used to have a sort of a slightly metal collar that they used to put around the behemoth in order to hook a ratzua onto it in order to draw it. And that thing was called a shear. And so therefore the Mishnah says, Kol Bale Hashir, all the animals that have a shear, then you can take them out and you can bring them back in with that shear on. And it's not considered that you're causing them to work, because the shear is part of them. It's like part of their very mahuz, of their own self. Came along the Alter Rebbe, and he touched a very amazing spiritual purity in that. He said, Kol Bale Hashir, all of those who are involved in shir, all those who sing. And there's certain people that their Bale Hashir, their whole inner is to sing. Yeah, like some of the Malachim, for example, and the Shomas Yisrael, Mitzad the Neshoma, how it is in the Elam Yainim, it's all the time singing, praising, yeah, Hashem. So he said, you go out and you're drawn upwards. The word Nimshochim means slightly different here than what it usually does. Usually Nimshochim means like you read them on Maila Mata. Over here it means being drawn upwards. Kol Bale Hashir Yotzim Bashir. That's how the Rebbe touched it. And at the beginning, some of the big Mishnayim said, but that's not the pshat, you know, that's not the simple meaning of the Mishnah. So the Alter Rebbe began singing to the Manigan, yeah. He didn't answer some of their questions that they began firing. He just started singing very dvegas nigan. I'm not sure at this moment exactly what nigan. Maybe it was the Abba Baba, so I'm not sure exactly what nigan it was. But the more that he sang, the more these guys got all these, they were really hotline. They got, as it were, carried away altogether by this nigan, by the shir of the Alter Rebbe, and gradually all the kashas dropped away. They saw, the terrorists saw all the kashas, due to their aliyah and their devekas in the shir. You follow? So that's a very amazing example of how shir is in a aliyah and by being drawn upwards into a different domain altogether, both in Be'ika and Rochnias, and that can be Poyel Afila also in Gafni. Yeah, so the Rebbe said, yeah, Kol Aliyah Ruchnias, every spiritual elevation, Nasis Alidei Shira, Nishmasis Mesuyema. Everything's got its shir. And you know that the Rebbeim, it's brought down about the Rebbe Marash and also the Tzemach Tzedek, that they had certain shirim for all sorts of different pu'ulas. And the Rebbe Marash was well known for when he put on his Big Day Shabbos, he changed from Big Day Chol into Big Day Shabbos, he had a whole special nigan for it. Yeah, and the household would know that he was dressing up in his big day Shabbos according to his niggin. He would sing a niggin that indicated that he was already changing from Chol to Shabbos, yeah? And all sorts of things like that. Our Rabbein had nigunim, especially the Alter Rebbe. The Alter Rebbe did everything with a niggin, yeah. And he spoke also with a niggin, yeah. That's one on. The Alter Rebbe's talk with a niggin, like the yeshiva talking around Gemara, sort of. Yeah, that's one on, yeah. There are certain cases where they brought people to the Alter Rebbe because they wanted him to have a certain effect on them. It's just by the nigun that he said the things to them that already drew them in. You know? He said what he wanted to say with a nigun. You know? So I don't know if I got a special nigun, but I'd like to make a book.
Amen.
So the Rebbe says that everybody's got a nigun for certain inyanim. He said, "V'im kain, im b'kol Shabbos nasis aliyah b'kol ho'ilamas." Every Shabbos is going up. So therefore, Shabbos is connected be'etzem with the union of Shira. So he said, "B'kol yom hilula." Yeah, and the same with a yahrzeit of anybody. K'moi Yud Shvat Yom Petiras Rebbe Rayad. That's an union from Aliyah as well. Yeshna Aliyah b'nishmas hanivta alidei Shira. It's well known that he also, the Neshamas in Olam Ha'elyon, when they have their Aliyah, they do it through the union from Shira. So the Rebbe said, "Areish Shleimas Aliyahs Nasa b'Shabbos Shira." Shabbos Shekol Kulei Shira. The whole Shabbos, even if you're not singing, but the whole Shabbos is called Shabbos Shira because that's what it is. It's Etzem Mahuz, yeah, is Shira. So here the Rebbe makes a very amazing point, a very amazing point, and that is that all Shabbos, every Shabbos is an aliyah of all the Eilamas, aliyah of all the Neshamas, everybody has an aliyah. So that's connected b'klal with Ashira, because we point out a real aliyah is through Shira. So therefore, says the Rebbe, where does Shabbos get that koyach to be in a state of Shira, in a state of aliyah, the way that Shira expresses? The Rebbe says it gets it from Shabbos Shira. That Shabbos Shira gives the koyach to all the other Shabbos that they have this union of Shira. Yeah, that's that's the actual Lashon, how it is inside. And that's a very amazing point, because it comes out before there that Shabbos Shira is not just a nice union of joy on the Nas and all that, you know, it's also that. And it's not just Indian klali, you know, from gaining a whole new chizuk in your way to Hashem alidei Shabbos Shira. But Shabbos Shira is a nasinas koyach of this Shabbos to all the Shabboses of the whole year in a very principal Indian Shebehem. The Indian from Shira. And so Shabbos Shira gives that to all the other Shabbos. No. Meilen oifevas yeshno bekat Shabbos Shira ba nasis ashleimas shel Yom HaHilula. The day of Yud Shvat has its shleimas yechulu hashamayim v'oret on Shabbos. Yesmuchim latesvo b'Shvat. So he said, "Come to us that the aliyah of Yud Shvat on Shabbos and Shabbos itself are both close to Tu B'Shvat. And Tu B'Shvat is also a very general day. It's Rosh Hashanah Leil on Earth. It's the day that we decide, is it working?
Yishai said to straighten out the picture.
I don't, it keeps tapping back to the rubber band, and I don't know how to do it. I fiddled and fiddled.
You have to put a book under it.
Yeah, it's going to go on one side to lift it up.
Oh, excuse me. No matter how much you lift it, it doesn't change.
It's the
It doesn't
angle,
make a
the
difference.
tipping of it forward, I couldn't figure out how to fix. Yeah, that goes back.
Oh, it's like this.
That's alone. It wasn't terrible.
Perfection is the enemy of success.
No, it's not. You need this,
Perfection is the enemy of success.
It's much more important to the whole thing than what he thinks.
Adolf Hitler, 1945.
Anyway, is it not functioning at all?
No, it's functions fine. It's cut out a little bit.
It's a waste of time.
Exactly. Time.
So I've got more shaykhs with medicine than this evening. Uncle Bunny, so the Rebbe says both of these days are close to Tu B'Shvat, which is Rosh Hashanah Li'Lones. Now it's not, Tu B'Shvat is not the day that the trees are judged. The days that the trees are judged, that's on Shavuot. But Rosh Hashanah Li'Lones means that it's the day where 1 year of all the Meiseras and all the Matonas, HaKahuna Shabbat Yisrael, they all cease, and it starts a new year. In other words, you have to start a whole new series of Meiseras. You can't rely on what you're giving up tonight. You have to start giving Meiser. And not only that, up until that point, we don't consider the fruits ready yet to be counted for Meiser. But after that point, we assume that they're already ready. So that's a din in halachas atluyas ba'oretz. It doesn't really have to do with judgment per se, even though some of the great Sforim bring that Hashem gives extra hashpoah to the trees on Tu B'Shvat, but the actual din v'chesbon b'neged to them is on Shavuot. So therefore, Tu B'Shvat is a very rare day in that it's connected with the halachas of Eretz Yisrael and how the halachas are tluyas ba'oretz have a certain pattern, and you have to know a certain date from whence you begin reckoning the new Meiseras and the new Inyan. So by trees, it's from Tu B'Shvat. And that's a difference of opinion, because Rosh, how do you call it, Beis Shammai, they hold that it's Rosh Chodesh Tzfat. And Beis Hillel, they hold that it's Tu B'Shvat. And the halach is according to Beis Hillel. So that's also a very important factor, that in halacha, that we always paskin, at least Bezman Agolas, we always paskin like Beis Hillel. And that's another inyan, it's connected with Eretz Yisrael. Ki Hillel HaNosi, he was the Nosi here in Eretz Yisrael, and he was even Bezman Habayz, Sofman Habayz, Hillel. So that's another very special shaykhah, that the halachas according to Beis Hillel, that's a shaykhah with Eretz Yisrael. Masha Nishahu, says the Rebbe, so we brought down all sorts of amazing milas in this Shabbat and Wednesday connected with it. So he said, Ma Nishahu Raklim Tzoet HaKesha LeParshiyos HaShavua Beshalach Yisrael. So the Rebbe said, since we keep the whole Shabbos and we read the whole Parsha, and then on Mincha on Shabbos we read Parsha Yisrael. So Kumte said the Kriyas HaTorah on Shabbos is really double. It's Parsha Beshalach B'Shlei Musa, but it begins also Yisrael, which means that at least the beginning of Parsha Yisrael must have something to do with Shabbos Shira. So the Rebbe said we need to find what is like the connecting link, and what are the koiches and the inyonim which link all of these inyonim together. So the Rebbe said, they put in a heading here, Legale says Achadasa, but that's just exactly the point. We're going to see that the whole coming section is all about the concept of 11 as verses 10. And that will be connected with Yud Shvat and Yud Aleph Shvat, and it will be connected with several other very important factors. The Parshas Beshalach v'Yisroi, says the Rebbe, Yesh noi Machaneh Meshutaf Echad. They have adequate, like one partnerized, how do you say Meshutaf, a mutual, or that's it. They have a mutual terminology or a mutual sort of like factor to them. Shnehem mahavim hachona lamatan Torah. He said both of them are a preparation, for Matan Torah. Ki Beshalach is a hachona to Matan Torah, because if they hadn't got through the Yom Suf, they wouldn't have got to Matan Torah. If they hadn't been able to get through the Yom Suf and make their way to Har Sinai, there wouldn't have been Matan Torah. And also in Elokus and in Giluyim, all the Giluyim of Kriyas Yom Suf are like a preparation for those of Matan Torah. And he said Yisroi is also a movement that if it hadn't been for Yisroi, as brought down in the Zohar Kodesh, if Yisroi hadn't given, made his Hoidua, that he admitted to Elokus of Israel, we'll talk about that as we go along here, and he came out and was Mizgayeh, but he said, he caused a beetle in the whole Sitra Achra. Well, that was a very important and eager preparation for Matan Torah. So Kumta said all of these factors which feature mainly in Beshalach and the early part of Yisrael have to do with the whole preparation which Hashem made in the world, both by Yidden and in Klolas Gila Lakus, for Matan Torah. Ha'mu'ura ha'merkazi b'Parsha Beshalach, which is Kriyas Yam Suf, Mahave Shleimas Yitzias Mitzrayim. They hadn't really got away from Mitzrayim until they went through the Yam Suf, because Paro was still chasing them. And only after the Bittul of Klippas Pari in Kriyas Yam Suf was it possible to say that they'd gone out of Mitzrayim completely. So Kriyas Yam Suf is the perfection of the going out of Egypt. Ein kol zeka min ha-Mitzrayim she'eh me'ayamim. There's no remembrance anymore of the Mitzrayim that they were threatening the whole time. Because even when Pari was already getting pretty close to being broken, he was still saying you should only go out for 3 days, you should go this, and that he was trying the whole time to keep a hand on them. And once he realized that they didn't intend coming back, he chased after them, and he thought his all superb political and military power would get him to get his hands on Yidden again. Once Yitzias Mitzrayim was completed through the Bittul of Parai, well, that was already the beginning of the going towards Ta'abdunas Elokim ala harazeh. V'kol zeh oya b'shvil lahagia lamatan Torah. Kenema b'hoitziacho es ha'om mimitzrayim Ta'abdunas Elokim ala harazeh. That's well known, like Rashi brings that's how Hashem said to Moshe that'll be a proof that you have completed your shlichus b'neget Yitzias Mitzrayim if they will reach this mountain and serve me, and that means Matan Torah. So Kumtais, once there'd been the Bittul of Pari Alidei Kriyas Yam Suf, they were already able to now follow the final aim of the whole Yitzias Mitzrayim to get to Har Hazeh, which is Har Sinai. The Ilu B'Parshas Yisroi, Bo Masupar Gam Oideis Matan Torah. Not only is the Parsha Yisroi a preparation for Matan Torah, but also includes Matan Torah B'Poyel and all the details of Matan Torah. Masupar al Kriyos Shel Yisroi Yeah, and the Zohar Kodesh calls it Avodah Osai. Kriyosishim Sha'ato Yadati Ki Godel Havaya Mikol Elokim. It's written, now he says that he sees that all in Yonah Elokus, all Batalim Legamri to the Shem Havaya. So he said, Is Batlus, they shall Erem Rosh HaGoyim, shall El HaKodesh Baruch, and to complete his butlers of a leader of the Goyim like Yisrael, to the Shem Havaya, or that is like a beetle of all the koiches of the Leuma there, and they become unable to prevent anymore and be Malim Master on the Etzamin of Matan Torah. So therefore, says the Rebbe, Hishlimo, or that beetle of Yisrael, the Osei, or that completed the Achona, Haruuya, Shala Oilam Nikras Matan Torah. And therefore it's written in the Zohar Kodesh in Parshas Yisrael, that until Yisrael said Ato Yadati, and he was made that everything is bottled betachlis to the Shem Havaya, there couldn't have been Matan Torah. If he hadn't done that, then there wouldn't have been able to be Matan Torah. At that time, it wouldn't have been possible, because there had to be, first of all, the clippers had to be bottled meritzinon, as it were. And Yisrael, being a leader of all the Goyim, like Rashi said, he tried all the Avodah Zarahs, and so he was like a professor. He was like an immense professor in the Indian from Avodah Zarah. So when he became bottled, then that drew with it all the koiches, the liomas. And it's written Meforish in the Zohar. It's written that had he not done that, it wouldn't have been possible for Hashem, because the clippers would have made a tremendous attempt to be Malam Master. And so it's brought down there, very similar to what's written by Skafia Sitra Achra. Istalik Yekor de Kutchabrika B'chol Ha'amin. It's written by Yisrael, that when he made that biddle of his and his Haidoah to Hashem, that caused Istalik Yekor de Kutchabrika, exactly like it's written by Skafia, almost exactly the same Lashon. So the Rebbe already finds in the footnotes, the Rebbe finds the connection between Yud Shvat and the Haidoah of Yisrael, because it's very similar, Lashonas, in the Maimah and in what's written in the Zohar, when they get to Yisrael. Al Chaponim, that completed, that's what the Zohar Kodesh made, that it made possible to complete it like the preparation for Matan Torah. And not just a few Goyim, but the whole world. In other words, Yisrael was a much more central figure than what we would have maybe assumed had we not had the Zohar and this amazing development and what's brought in Siddhas. He was a very central power in affecting the whole world, not just himself. Just by the way, that's very common in the teachings of Chassidut, and also in the Basi Lagani and everything, that whatever you do with the emes, you affect the world. You don't just affect yourself. You have an effect on the world. And you may not pick it, but Hashem knows, and it becomes later revealed what a good effect even you can have on the world by making a good movement, a good move forward. Yeah. Beremet, says the Rebbe, Nitin Lurish Gamasa Chona, Latera Chadosho. Also, now the Rebbe, very, very common and very, very matsui in these sitters of Nun Beis, the Rebbe connects the whole thing with the Gula Mitis, Shlema. And the Rebbe says, Beremas, meaning maybe not absolutely openly, but Al Chaponim, definitely one can find it hidden there. Beremas, Nitan Lireish Gamas Achona Latera Chadosha, Shetizgale Begula. Yeah, so the Rebbe said, if you look carefully, you'll be able to see that not only did Kriyas Yamsuf and Yisrael make a chona to Matan Torah, how it was B'Pam Rishono, but it's also a chona to Matan Torah, how it's going to be when Mashiach comes. But even though a new Matan Torah is not going to be, but it's going to be revealed when Mashiach comes, all the Soidas of Torah which were revealed at the first Matan Torah, but they're not Begalui. And Mashiach is going to bring them Begalui. Therefore that's called a Torah Chadosho, even though it's not a Chadosho, but it's Chodesh, the Gabi the Makablim and the Gabi the world. So the Rebbe says, Gamas HaChona L'Torah Chadosho Shetizgaleh. Notice the word Tizgaleh. Not Yinaten. There's nothing new is going to be given, but it's going to reveal itself by Geula. Yeah, Shiras Hayom, yeah, Mistayemas, yeah, Bakriyas, Hashem Yimloik Le'elam Voed. That's how we finish the Shiras Hayom. Hashem Yimloik Le'elam Voed. When is that going to be? When is it going to be Hashem Yimloik Le'elam Voed? Only at the time of the Geula. So he said, "Hey, B'shleimus v'geula." In other words, Hashem is ruling Le'olam V'ed the whole time anyway. But that's going to be B'kalui. That's the whole inyan. The whole inyan of the Geula Shleimus that's going to reveal all sorts of inyanim that are there, but they're hidden from the world. And that's what's called Chadosh in the sense that it's a new Gilui that hasn't been there before. So therefore he says, Milchemus Amalek. Also, if we look carefully at this whole inyan of the war against Amalek, Tistayim Rak B'Biyas HaMashiach. The emissary, people of Amalek will only be when Mashiach comes. Therefore, if you look in the at the end of in the Targum Yonasan, at the end of the Parsha, it's written Ki Mochei Emcho Zeicha Amalek Mintachas HaShomayim, and then it's written what's written there? Forgotten the exact. Oh, Ki Yodel Keishko Milchamo LaHashem B'Amalek Midor Dor. So the Targum Yonasan writes over there, Midor de Moshe Ad Dor de Malchama Mashiach. In other words, that the emissary completion of it all is going to be at the moment of Mashiach. So therefore, says the Rebbe, Az Yemoche Lechalutin Zeicha Amalek. Then it's going to be the proper, complete wipeout of Amalek. The Yisroi Toisi Parsha Shleima, of Amalek Melchemus Amalek. Well, that's an indication of the Gilui of Mashiach. The Yisroi, he's also shayach to Mashiach. Yeah, but Yisroi Hoisi Parsha Shleima B'Torah. It's brought down in the Medrash of why is he called Yisroi? Because the word Yisroi is from the word Yeter. And Yeter means that he added an extra parsha into the Torah. What can you do? The Ator Techas there, and the whole thing he said to Moshe Rabbeinu about, making deputy leaders of the groups and everything. Well, that's called a parsha b'fnei atzmai. And Kaviyol, that wouldn't have been in the Torah had it not been for Yisrael. Yisrael added that into the Torah. So the Rebbe said that's a remez l'Torah chadosho shetitosef b'geula. That's like a remez. So in all these three factors that we found, the inyan of the Shiras Hayam, and the inyan of Melchemus Amalek, and the inyan for the Yisrael, all three of them have to do also not only with Matan Torah, but also with the Geula Shleima and the Torah Chadosha, which will be given at the time of the Geula. So he says, Kol HaChones Halolu Maschilim Be'etzem B'Yetzias Mitzrayim Atzmo. All these type of preparations that are being made after Matan Torah and all the generations up to and including Moshiach, He said, all of that began with Yetzias Mitzrayim. ובשביל להובין את המוריס הללו, צריך להובין קודם את שאירה ויציאת מצרים. So the Rebbe said, since all of these inyonim all began in Mitzrayim, and Mitzrayim was like the beginning of everything, and the Gula Shlema, then we need to understand, what is one of the whole central points in Yetzias Mitzrayim that makes it so central and leads it to its whole goal was Matan Torah, and Matan Torah, its whole goal is Matan Torah to the Yossi Lovi. What is so special about Yetzias Mitzrayim? So the Rebbe says, a medrash, maybe it's written in the medrash, שהמרחק ממצרים לארץ ישראל הוא 11 מסוis בלבד. If you were to go directly, straight line from Eretz Israel, in the time when they traveled by horse or by foot, it would take 11 days, 11 masois, each masoh a day of its own, and that's what, had the Yidden gone straight, that's where they would have gone. They would have gone derech Eretz Plishtim, and they were going straight into Eretz Israel. Instead of that, the Ebershter took them round into the desert, and then they had a whole mess with the Kriyas Yamsuf, and then later, after the Chet Hamaraglim, there was 40 years of moving around in the desert, but the straight line would have taken them straight into Eretz Israel in 11 days. And so here we see that instead of 11 days, they were 40 years in the desert. That's quite a shinui. That's quite a difference. So therefore the Rebbe says, Amerchak mitzrayim learned so chados maso is bilvad, and each maso is 1 day. Ve'ilu b'foyo b'nai Yisrael hayu aboim shona b'midbar ad shehigiu la'oretz. That's a huge difference. So the Rebbe said, Asiba hapnimius lakachu. Why is it that it was like that? So the Rebbe said, 11, the number 11, misamel sifro achas mi'al hateva. Eser indicates the whole Eser Sphira. So the Eser Sphiras are inachanami, vike giloi shalem u'boilam hatzila. Over there, the mokir of the whole Hanhoga of Seder Ishtalshalit. Seder Ishtalshalit. Seder Ishtalshalit is what brings to the Hanhoga of Terah. However, Echadesrei is one beyond that. And so the word Echadesrei is built of two words, Echad Esrei. In other words, 1 and 10, which means that you've got a level of 1 that's beyond the 10. And yet, nonetheless, he's part of the 10, because he's not 11 unless he's 10. But on the other hand, he's got a certain aspect of him which is withdrawn from the 10, and that's the Echad. And Echad is like the Zohar says, Antu Chad, you are one in your very essence. The pshitas of the Ein Sof is beyond everything. So Kunde said the Chades is a very interesting number. So on the one hand got 10, and yet on the other hand it's got Echad Antu Chad, the pshitas of Achta, which is beyond the whole 10. So the Rebbe said, Dargas el Kushim Miyal Hoi Long, Ve'ilu B'Shvil Shel B'nai Yisrael, Yuchel Likhloi, Lahovin or Lehafnim, גם מדרגה שכזויס עצמוסי של הבוירי או יצוירה ב40 שנה. So the Rebbe says that you can't understand the whole moving around in the midbar only as a negative thing, even though there are many statements in the Torah itself and in Divrei Chazal, in the Gemara, and Medrashim. Oh, is it right? Are you cold? Is that it? I see, I'm getting a walk out here.
No.
It's funny, I'm not sure, okay. Yeah. Anyway, good to be together. So, the Rebbe says, if you say it's only negative, it comes out that the Abraham played it very, very hard with the Yidden. They could have gone 11 days in there as well. Instead of that, he kept them 40 years, in the desert. That's a long time, 40 years, long time. So the Rebbe said, why is it that he kept them 40 years in the desert? We can learn it in a positive way. And he said, there's a statement, Shanema, Ben Aboim Labina. When you get real understanding, after you've lived 40 years, after you've been through 40 years, then you get real understanding. Or, there's another one, Aboim Shona Ma'afshirim Likloid Heitiv Gam Madreges Gavoyas Ka'elo. And it's brought down in the Gemara that until 40 years, a mensch doesn't really understand. It's a Mishnah. A mensch doesn't really understand the emerson chokmah of Israel. It takes 40 years for him to appreciate it. So the Rebbe said, the Eberster wondered that this Madrega of Chadasol Yom, he gave it already. But that's a thing which is beyond Yid to be koilet premiers at that point. Therefore, he didn't take them round that way, because that was too much for them to be koilet at one go, to use the expression. He said, based on the fact that the Gemara said it takes you 40 years to really absorb what your rabbis taught you, and therefore Hashem kept them 40 years in the desert. So the Rebbe said that's the milah of the 40 years. It's not a chitzon, that's a milah that they should be able to absorb the panemias, what the Chadas Rayom really indicates. You follow? In other words, come days that Hashem gave it to them, but the chitzon was mitzadem, and therefore he couldn't take them. He had to take them to an area where they would be able to learn to be Oidei Hashem for quite a few years in order to absorb the panemias, this whole gili of a Chadas.
No.
Yeah, so that's a very amazing idea. So we're going to see that without that, it wouldn't be possible to get through all the years and to reach the ultimate Gila of Terech Hadosha at the Gula Shlema. If we hadn't had the Pneumias of this koyach beyond nature altogether, also we wouldn't have been able to fight properly the war against Somali. Everything was all like a preparation for the ultimate shlemas of all the different factors in the parsha. So therefore says the Rebbe, Aderek likloid, ulahafnim as dargas hachadotzo, the way to, how do you call it, absorb and make an apnimia of this madrega of achadosrei, temura, alatzmusei, hamoira, alatzmusei mohusei shalakodesh baruch hu, because we said that chadosrei is unto chad, but that's referring to the essence of Hashem, how he's beyond the whole ishtalshalet. There was a Rebbe, Eina Peshuta Klau. It's not a simple thing to absorb that. As brought down in Sforim, that a man knows, and he knows he's Lamayla Metiv, and he should be, and he has to be, and he has to act completely differently, and he has to be completely absorbed in Hashem, and he has to trust in Hashem ultimately. He knows all of these things. But to actually move into living that way takes a long time. So the Rebbe said, therefore the Eibishter gave him the level of a Chadasrei, but he wanted it should become Pneumias, that they should be able to live that way, Vapoil. So therefore he kept them 40 years in the desert. Yelashem Kach, Hoya Tzorik La'avoya, is a midbo. And he said a midbo is what? A Mesamo is Mokim Atuma Vaklipaz. Take him through a beautiful garden city or something. What do you take them out into the desert? You made the 40 years where they're going to absorb the Echadus, right? You made it the most difficult place in the world. They take it easy. So he said, no, the reason, Limtes HaNetzutes HaKedusha Shenoflu Lashon. The Avis wanted that's where the heart of Netzutes are, in the Midbar. And that's actually why nobody lives in the Midbar and there's no Ashpor in the Midbar. Because the Netzutes are key Gedoylai, Noflu very deeply into a Midbar, you follow? And so the Alter Rebbe brings in Likutei Torah in 2 places that the whole reason they traveled around with the Oren in the desert. You want to keep them in the desert 40 years, sit them in one place. But they traveled all around the place, in order, to reach all the different Sugei HaNetzutes and elevate them and bring them back. And it's an amazing thing. And the Alter Rebbe writes in Parshas Nosai, and he said it wouldn't have been possible, the whole Geula Shlema, if not those 40 years. It's very similar to what's written here. And those 40 years of moving around in the Midbar, that made it possible because the Ika, Toika for the clippers was broken. Yeah, that's what he says in Parshas Midbar. And he says something even more amazing over there. He said that had it not been the 40 years of moving around in the desert, he doesn't know how we would have overcome the clippers that would have prevented the coming of the Geula Shlema. About a day, what the Yidden were 40 years moving around the whole time in the desert. Well, that made it possible to break them. And that made it possible to Gilui of Moshiach. Yeah. So what is everybody saying? You know, Ad Mosai, you know, if everything's been broken and everything, then, you know, that's exactly the Rebbe. The Rebbe says, Ein noch an now it's a whole new ballgame. You know. So he said, Limtes and the Tute Kedushas and Novla, the Zochachom Ulahaloism Kedusha B'Mesrach Aboyim Shona. So now you get in the picture, how long was it from Yud Tzfat? Up to Toshin Nun. Aboyim Shona. So the Rebbe says, we're already Aboyim the Stein. And that's Mem Beis. And Mem Beis is the Shem Mab. And the Shem Mab is connected along with Aliyah. And therefore the Rebbe said that's the unit of Shira also. They were holding Beklal in the time of going upwards, which is Shira, like we said before. So he said, Nitzute Zeilu Hinam Gevoyim B'Yoisa. Gevoyim Af Yoisa Mi Aseres Adibras of Beklalas Atera V'Hamit. He said these Netzutes, in their very essence, are higher even than the Aseres Adibras. Yishor Shemhu Madregas Achad Oso, not just Asora, but Achad Asor. So how did Yidden make contact, mamish, in their etzem life with the Madrega Achad Asor through going around in the desert? So Kumtais, that by going around the desert, they achieved something very, very elevated that they wouldn't have been able to achieve otherwise. Yeshu Madreg Zachadar, Balidei is the Chukom, Bahalosam, the Kedusha, Nimshechas Dargas Achadazre, through taking these Nitzutas, what their level is Achadazre, and elevating them back to their shoyres. Through that, you're able to be Megala, the Madrega of Achad Israel. But take B'nai Israel and into the world. What clay pits are you referring to?
Mitzrayim.
Huh?
Mitzrayim.
Mitzrayim. Yeah, ain't nothing on it. I saw what you mean, the clay pits are drawing out the, it'll soon become clear. So the Rebbe said, that Darkia, through the elevation of these very deep clippers of the Nitzutzis, it's possible to reach the Gilui in Yidden of Achadasre. And therefore the Rebbe said, Lochein, Nema Achadasre Yom Mei Choyrev Derech HaSoyer in Sefer Dvorim at the beginning, Moshe said all that he said to them on Shvat, by the way. That was on Rosh Chodesh Shvat. Yeah, he said to them that all this is Achadus Reyom Mei Choyrev, well, that's it, Madrega Achadus Reyom, Derech HaSeir. The HaSeir is Esau. And Esau was the big boss of the clippers. And so it had to be Derech HaSeir. We had to elevate the deepest part of the clippers. And not just some Seir, but HaSeir. Ha was a big mountain sticking out. Kivat shenitzutes elu, laloi zichucham, moiviles laHaSeir, Rachmana Natlan. If you're not Mazachacham, then they'll pull you the other way. It's that you have to be a balabos over them, yeah, in order to elevate them. Otherwise, they're likely to draw you down into the valley of Seir. The mountain of Seir will put it down. Therefore, it was necessary to spend 40 years patiently draying around and making sure that they got on top of these netzutzos, elevated them back, and that brought the level of the Chadatzah into their lives. So the Rebbe said, a very similar thing happened through a Milchomas Amalek and Hoidos Yisrael, yeah, which was Ato Yodati. Al-Yidei Mechir Zeich Amalek v'his Batluzei Shel Yisrael, Shesher Shom Gam, who Memadregas Achadas Shebekedusha. It's one on that Yisrael was on a very high Madrega. Yeah, he was on a very high level, and that's why when he was bottled, he was able to draw with him all the clippers and everything. And he said the same is with the Indian the Bittul of Amalek also caused a very, he was like the Maki for the clippers, as his Bittul and the defeat of Amalek brought also a Bittul, Godel, of the clippers to Kedusha. Nimshach l'bnei Yisrael, Yisroim, that's Yisroel, a very great additional power by Yisofa Batoiro. And what was that? Gilu Atzmuse Mahuzi Yisbora Shelamayla Miasar Zadibra. Oh. So the Rebbe said, oh, that Bittul of Amalek and the Hoidah of Yisrael, which is like a Bittul also, a very high form of Bittul, or that made possible the Gilead, the Atzmas of Mahus, so they're able to, in a way that it's higher than the Aseret Zadibra. And that's the Torah Chadosha, that's the extra Inyan over Matan Torah, which is going to be Mizkala and is being worked on now the whole time. And it's going to be brought down. Yeah, Liyosid Lovi Alidei Moshiach. All of that is hidden in this week's parasha. So he said, Bakach Hukshara Hakarka, or through those in Yonim, it was made ready, the groundwork, Legila Atera Chadosha Begila. That's what we're aiming at. That through that they prepared the way that you could go higher than Matan Torah. Not that it was new, in the sense that it wasn't given. It was given at Matan Torah, but in a very hidden way. It wasn't Begoli. And now it's going to be Begoli. Terech Hadosha Begula, meaning Gegula Midyoshlim. She came to Matan Torah and he's got a Aseret Adibri. Aseret, but that's got a certain shaykhah. Bechozot with the Indian of Seidah Ha'olamad. Yeah, but Ilu HaChadaso Nisha Behelem, that's not Begolui. Ba'gula Hashlima Liyum Hazei, by the Emes however, Tis Gala Dagas Alakusha Ein Aber Lo'ilom. And that's Pnimia Satoiro. Yeah, V'oi Latzmuzei Mohusei, the very essence of the Eves to Mamish Kemoishu. Well, that's going to be Mitkeleh, yeah, through the Gilead, the Terah Chadosha Hazeh. Over come to say that the Gilead of Chadaso was made more possible and linked more with the world through these three Inyonim. Yeah, the first of all, Matan Torah, and then the Indian of, what do we say, Mechemes Amalek, and the Indian of Yisrael. Well, those three Inyanim, they all, like as it were, linked together, and they lead from Matan Torah to the Geulah Shlom. Oh, and so how do you get to all that? Davka, if you get into a matzav of shira, if you get into a state where you're ready to, how do you call it, go out and upwards like a shia, then that's how you make the connection. So he said, Bekach, where are we? Yeah, Ella, Shalosh Rach, Hechela Hachona. Even with all these three Inyanim, it was all only a beginning. Matan Torah, Mechemes Amalek, Bapam, Roshena, and Yisrael, they were only a beginning. Ve'ilu Shleimas, Basiyum, Achona, Mitpatzeh, Bezichro, Ko'elam, Ko'eish, Bezman, Agolas, Livnei HaGeula, the Rebbe says. Right now, when we're going for another stage altogether. At that time, the stake was to get out of all the Inyanim from Mitzrayim and bring about the Shleimus Sagula from Mitzrayim and all the Nitzutes and everything from the desert. But now we're dealing with the final. The whole thing is to bring the Gula B'Poel and to bring the Gilui of the Achadasar, Davka Liyosei Love, take him miyad mamish. And therefore, that's connected what he goes on now to say with the infant Shira. And the infant Shia, that's what elevates us out of the inability to be in a state of arousing all of these Inyanim, gives us the koyah to go up and bring all these Inyanim b'poel b'goli. And that's what he stresses, the Maila of a Shia, that Shir B'derek Lal is Aliyah no matter Maila. And after that, there's Shochem no Maila Lamata. But he said, Lav Davki, that's a infant Shir. Of Liyosid Love, it's going to be a Shir Chadaf. So the Rebbe said the Shir Liyosid Love is going to be a Shir coming downwards also. Normally a Shir is only going up. But he said the Shir is going to be we will elevate ourselves towards the Eibush of Shir, and he will come down to us like a Shir. In other words, he will come down with a whole new power, not just a but the Eibush will literally sing back at us. We will sing upwards to him, and he'll sing a tremendous Giloi. And I shocked us with the Yidden, and I shocked us b'kol ha'olam kulei. Yeah. So that's pretty amazing going. And I'm sure you've all got a little bit of a power of imagination. The Rebbe connects that with Yud Aleph Shvat. And the Rebbe says, this is the Achadasar. And so he said, Shvat is b'klal Achadasar. That's the 11th month. And the 11th day in the 11th month is double a Chadasar. All that we've learned here, double. That's what he says, yeah. And that's the end of the day. Everybody knows what happened on the Chadasar B'Shvat. You guys are batlonim. So the Rebbe makes it clear. He doesn't come out and say, Shalom Aleichem, guys. But it couldn't be clearer. He keeps building up this whole idea of Chadasar, and then he gets on, he says before it, that it's the Chadasar B'Shvat. Yeah. Over Mela, so that is the Aliyah's, the Ikis is the Eibush is going to answer the Aliyah's also B'Shira, take him, give down, take him, Miyad. And we have to live with the Chadasar, Sheba Chadasar. And we have to realize that the world got a whole new ball game on the Chadasar, Sheba Chadasar. It's a whole new ball game. The leadership of the Rebbe. and let's just go with him, take him here into the base of Mikdash. Please, take him here, man.
Amen.
When I see the revised version, I'll include that Yes. They assassinated Antelman as well. In Marcel. Gabriel Marcel.
Die hat geschleppt, das ist auseinanderschleppen.
What happened to Chamish, to Marcel, Antelman? No, he was 8 in his 80s, and Chamish was 64.
A lot of his writings, some people think that you can't find them on the internet.
Exactly. But what do you think of that? Food for thought?
Very interesting. But the Targumais, are they Jewish? Are they the merchants? They're not Jewish. Last Tony Twister told me 2 years ago that when Tadmor are there is destroyed, it's the gates of the Mashiach are
Correct.
So now what do you say about Mashiach? Because from within. You mean that we're our own?
Simcha, God.
But they are the masters of concealment. But the Masons, you know, a Gutnik is a Mason. Don't understand.
Good guys or bad guys?
Like all these things can be turned either way. What do you say?
You do a lot of research.
10th hour and 11th hour.
Professor.
11th hour.
Please don't.
11th hour.
You know who's going to love this?
10 o'clock is
Your
11th.
friend, the Australian Concave.
So I'm trying to photograph it.
I'll send it.
The camera. Wait. Thank you.
Baruch Hashem.
Whose camera is that?
Rabbi Marzel, I don't know.
Seven times 11 times 10. 770 is 7 times 11 times 10.
Yep. All this means?
As they say, it's all there.
11 times 10. 11 times 10. 11 times 10 is imagine this.
What was it?
11 times 10.
11.
11. Every said that 11 has to come to the 10. 11 with the 10. 11 times 10. 9 times, multiplying. 11 multiplied by 10 is imagine this.
Yashikoya, that was.
Yeah.
I wanted to fall off my chair, but I didn't want to disrupt the group.
Right?
I wanted to fall off my chair, but I didn't want to upset everybody.
No, it's okay, it's just waiting for something. It's just waiting for you.
I know he wanted that.
And you want to fall off your chair, right?
Yes.
Good for you.
This is amazing.
That's great. If you wanted to keep order, so he didn't fall off his chair.
Tell me when.
Doctor's orders I can only
Towards the tough shop, you know that road, like in Naples.
Soon get rid of your third leg.
Amen.
Give you three.
Amen. Aye.
put it out in place. Take a fork, put it in the thing, put it on the ball.
Broadcast the shoot.
You ever seen this?
So, Rabbi Mazar, it's black, it's okay. The radio is not being recorded. You blacked it out.
I really appreciate it.
Excuse me,
My pleasure.
it should be recorded.
If you think so, go so.
I don't know how to put it in.
Then you should stay out of it. That's the best thing you could do.
Come on, let's see what's going on. You know what it is?
That's very beautiful.
Yeah, honest. Wow.
Where does this go? What do we do with this?
Ask you who to, I'll put, just put it out there, the speaker, and I'll take care of it.
You see, you put yourself in a problem. Now you have to
Chaim, Chaim.
I'm living happily with my problem, bro.
Chaim.
Chaim. Rabbi Miranda, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam.
Chaim.
Yeah, I know. I called you back. People are trying to say the reason. The reason is how it was the son.
Whatever it is, I'm gonna.
So בהמשך to everything that we spoke about, the Gilui of the Chabad, and it's not only just a Gilui of the Chabad, and it's Nisha B'Makiv, אלא המקיף הזה של החדש הוא נמשך ממש בפנימיות או נשומות עד לגילוי בעולם, כפשוטו. We should suggest that that's connected with the Rebbe every year taught us that particular year had a parak in the Hemshech of Vosel Legami, but on that particular parak he used to say the manna of that year, and that became like a fixed practice. So if we go with that cloud, it comes out that this year, the Perek is Perek Yud Tes of the Hampshire, of the Reb Raya. And that's the second last Perek. The last Perek is Perek 4. Yud Tes Yud Tes is like the second last one. So if you look up over there, you'll see that Perek talks Bishar and the Rebbe's Maimah deals principally with what he calls the Indian of Koach HaNitzochen, or what's called Midas HaNetzach, or sometimes it's referred to as Midas HaNitzuach, the power of overcoming and being victorious over all the things which oppose you doing what you should really do, or achieving your emerson goal, or whatever. The power of Nitzochen, Midas HaNetzach. And so the Rebbe Rayat brings that even though the Midas HaNetzach is already one of the chitzonius aspects of the Midas, the Ika Midas HaChesed Gura Tiferet, Netzach Vahid are already expressing it outside the Odom Mall. And the Indian of Midas HaNetzach is the Indian of getting down and getting things done. It's not so much a Indian of Regish, Oimek Sheba, it's like a tweak of Atzmi that he has to be victorious. So the Rebbe says that it's mashma v'kol ha'makoyim that Midas HaNitzochen, even though it's a relatively simple gilui in the etzem seid of giluim, it's already chitzonius HaMidas, it's not the etzem. However, the shoulders of Midas HaNetzach is very, very high. And it's very high in the etzem HaNefesh, and the Yechidah HaNefesh, the etzem HaNefesh, and Lamaila, the shoulders of Nitzochen, Lamaila is in Tzivos Hashem, and their shoulders, or the Shem Tzvochet, rather, I'm sorry, Tzivos Hashem and the Avodah Lamat. The Shem Tzvochet, if that's in your Netzach Vahid, or that's their shoulders is in Pnimis HaKesar. But all the Midas have a shoulders in Kesar and in Ati. Oh, but this is in Pnimis, Super Pnimis. This is in Atzmas, Madregas Ati. That's the Indian from Midas HaNetzach. So it comes out that the emissary revelation of this koyach of Chadasah, and both how it is Lamaila and how it is in the Avodah demands, Lamaila may say this culture, comes out Davki in a door which appears to be like an Indian portrait of overcoming the difficulties. Davki there, that's the Gili of a Chadasah. Davki there. In other words, the Davki, the overcoming all the Inyonim, which might interfere with the Gili Atma, saying so. Well, that is the Ika, is Galas of the Etzem in the Avodah Zod. The Davki on the day, Midas HaNetzach. And therefore, I just want to mention the story that, and so therefore the Rebbe brings that therefore Yidden are referred to as Tzivos Hashem, because the whole idea of a tzavah and the whole idea of a soldier, he is like the personification of Midas HaNitzochen. He's so in as either victory or nothing. You understand? That's the Indian of a soldier, the koyach of to overcome all the dvarim hamenagdim. Well, that's a koyach atzmi, ma'od. And for that, they give you the oitzreis of the melech in order to be victorious with his army over the enemy. The melech gives out everything, and the more he gives, the more the soldiers get worked up with this power to be. But if he didn't just pour out all the oitzreis, then he wouldn't have enough money to keep
working towards the victory. So the Rebbe said it's the same when a person really means that he's got to overcome and he's got to be victorious and he's got to break through with a kavanah. Then they give him the oitzer shalamayla. They pay him a very high inin, and that oitzer shalamayla is be'emes atmas eitov. And that's a madrega v'chadasrei. That if you are really determined and you're really stot chavek mit atoikev, they give you oitzeres, they give you unbelievable powers, more than what you really are able to give. You're just a schlepper, but if they give you the oitzer, you become a herikod. An important, you become as I say though. So I remember when I was in Australia, when I was in Melbourne, Australia, I think I may have told this story at one stage, but people are already quite patient. And they put up with hearing a story a second time. When we get the third or fourth time, I don't know how it's going to be. But
Good song on the radio.
that I got to know a person. What I won't mention his name because he didn't want that anybody should tell this in his name. So I won't do that. And also, if I mention his name, he might be related to certain people in this town or amongst the Nash Beklal that are known here. I'm not going to mention. But people told me about him that when he was in Russia with all the Siddim together, he did the most amazing, and he was still a bocher. It was when he was relatively young in years. He did the most amazing acts of determination and bravery in front of, right under the nose of the secret police and everything, and he got away with it. They never actually got their hands on him. He was never actually in Sibir. Yeah. So it's amazing. And people told me that he will never tell you, but I can tell you things that he did that even the biggest Siddim were, taken by this. Where does he get all this power from, So I once ate by him Shabbos, and he was very modest and very posh, and he would never talk about this whole period of his life. And he once gave the reason that you can never tell in those days, I'm talking about close to 60 years ago, it could be that it might be even a little bit not safe for certain people in Russia if he were to tell stories laughing at the authorities. So he didn't go around telling it a great deal. But once I was with him for a Shabbos day meal, and he sort of, we got on very well together, and he revealed to me a whole series of things, And I'm not going to tell you about it now, because he didn't want me to tell other people, but it was mind-boggling things that he did. So towards the end of the story, he said something which I can't tell you. And he said that when now he looks back on that, and he's now in Belbaptist, Australia, Australia is very Belbaptist. And he said, he lives a relatively Belbaptist life, and he does a little bit of business here and there, and he's sort of very Masuda. He looks back and he tries to, figure by himself what actually was working in him in those days, what. And he says, there's no other way of explaining it. He said there was a koya who was nimshach into us, a koya ma'od elyain, that it sort of, we were pushing with koya hanatochen, but koya hanatochen has got a shoyresh. And he said, where does that come from? It comes from a very high madrega. And just like when you're mabazbeis, oitias, there's no cheshboinas. What does it mean? So he said, and the Rebbe brings it in the moment. He said, what does it mean, leiba chushban? Don't make any
calculations. You don't make any cheshbonos. The Eber says it pours forth the power. If you want to be a really determined soldier, Hashem pours forth the power. And he said, believe me, he said, we felt it. He said, Ella, and this is what the Rebbe's later mamshik in the Mama. What he was telling me was later I worked out, later when I became a bit more able to study the sources myself, I began to realize that there's very similar to certain things in the Mama. And the Rebbe said, how do you get that koyer practically? If it's so moved of it's Atma saying so, how does it just come into the man? No, that's the intimate. Yaminu Bashem, Uva Moshe Avdoi. The Bapuyo, the Hamshoga goes through Moshe Rabbeinu. And he said, we felt that we were getting it all from the Rebbe. He said, the Rebbe, he gave us the Oitra Shalamayla. Yeah, it was Oitra Shalamayla. It wasn't his personal Oitra, but they came through him and he made it possible for it to reach everybody. And he said, that's why everybody was so devoted. I remember Reb Pinya, yeah, when he would talk about the Frierdiker Rebbe, he would just completely change. You could see him and his brother in Melbourne that I got to know. Yeah, it's brought down in statements from the Rebbe. I mean, the Rebbe Velo Mashiach. But the Rebbe says that a Rebbe and his Chassidim are not two people that love one another, but they are one etzem. It's even more than like a father and a son. A father and a son is close to that, but Afu became it's like two different entities. The Alter Rebbe says in Tani Perek Bey that they become like two different entities. He said a Chosed and a Rebbe are like one unity. They're not two things. They're like two things that have become one. Yeah. And so I used to see on the opinion when he would mention the Frierdiker Rebbe, you'd see he would all sort of change. And Reb Shmuel B'Tzalel, his brother, he brought a Kulanu came to him in Melbourne. I knew him much closer all the years. When I say all the years, it wasn't all that terribly long. It's you can see they were moving in another world only when they mentioned the Frierdiker Rebbe. Because it was and this guy that I was talking to on that Shabbos, he said to me that he felt that the Rebbe gave them koiches. It's just not. And he can't explain to anybody, including himself, how did he do it? When he looks back at what happened, and it's mamish mind-boggling. He said, how did it all happen? How did he do it? So he said, it's the Oitza Shalamayla al Yidei Moshe Avdei. That's what he said to me. Kachu Amali. And I'm sitting there, and I'm trying to eat a bit of a Suda Shabbos, and he opened up to me. He mamish opened these there. But to people, he wouldn't talk that way. I'm not trying to praise myself, but that's just what happened. And I felt a very close bond with him because he'd opened up and he told me certain things he never told anybody. Even his wife, she told me she didn't know some of these things. She wasn't there. Yeah. In other words, he gave me his oitza, and he told me about the oitza that Hashem gave him through the Rebbe, who was the Baal oitza. That's what he told me. It's amazing things, guys. So if you look in our Yom Yom, it's very interesting. What is the Yom Yom for today, for Yud Shvat? Take a look and you'll see it's about Moed Ani. And the Frierdiker Rebbe says that Moed Ani, by every year, is B'tachlis HaShleimas. And he says it in the morning, even before Negel before he begins anything, before he does anything. He says, Moed Ani, Yeah, and he said, it doesn't matter if he's got unclean hands or clean hands. So what do we see from that? The Rebbe brings in Biurim, the Rebbe says in Parshas, the simple term, why can I say Moedani when I've still got unclean hands? Because it's a very simple thing that doesn't have any big lights of the high names or, So the Rebbe said, come to this, that's Opi Nigla Gomo. What it is. But he said that in Pnimis Einyam, the Frierdiker Rebbe makes it clear that in Pnimis Einyam, why are you able to say it, a fila before the Tilas Yadayim? Because it's so high that it's higher than all the tumas. It's higher than everything. English is shum, shaykhs, favuz, because it goes straight, and it has to do straight with Atzmusay's body. Now, when I first saw that, I almost fell off my chair. I don't know if I really did properly, but and that is absolutely amazing. And in the ISIS countries in Yonah Sholteres Aksidas, the Rebbe built a whole part of the country.
Somebody once asked Rabbi Simchana what the Rebbe's favorite feeling is. And he said Modani.
Yeah.
Or she told him Modani.
What was that?
Somebody asked the Rebbe Simchana what was the Rebbe's favorite tefillah, and he said,
What did the Rebbe want?
favorite tefillah, favorite davening,
We're part of the.
Modani.
Oh, yeah.
That
That makes good sense in came with what we're talking about. The Kumta is that the Rebbe explains why is it that you can say Moedani and Azam Matzah, because it's the highest tefillah. It's the highest. And it has in itself the Kedusha Ha'atzmis of a Chadasah. And that's why everything swivels around Moedani. And that's what, how do we get to the Rebbe? Also through Moedani, through a Tnuah of Bittul like Yisroi. And that's Yisroi's unbelievable chab, you understand? He chab, that the only way is Hoidor, Moedani, you understand? But it went through Moshe Rabbeinu. And the same as Al Moedani is connected with what the Rebbe gives us. That's all the Rebbe, and through that we reach the Oiter Elyon. Therefore, the Rebbe brings, in the famous Sikha of Rosh Chodesh Kislev, Toshin Non, I think it was, or Nonalu, that you have to think straight away when you wake up, even before Moedani. You have to think about Moshiach, Melech HaMoshiach. That's what the Rebbe said. That's why it is that the Mishchistim, they hold that you should say Yechi Adinenu before Moedani. And you can't say they don't have anything to base themselves on. That's a clear sikha. That where do we get this whole unbelievable schooler of Achadazan, Moedani, and everything? How does it all come to us? It comes through the Rebbe. That's what you're giving over. That's the main thing. And therefore, you should realize that the Rebbe Kotzach in the last few years, when I say, well, I mean the Sikhs, the Rebbe Kotzach in them, that in their Mitzvah Seva, in Shur's Mitzvah Tefillah, that some Tzaddik brings all the different kavanas of the Sheimais and everything. And then he brings that there was a great makubal amongst the Rishonim, the Rabbeinu Shimshon, Luiniville or something like that. And he was a very big makubal. And so they asked him, when he's davening, what shemas and what kavanas does he have? He said, just now. So he said, you're an amazing makubal, you know all the spirit. He said, that I think about before I daven. Oh, he said, when I daven, he said, Ladas zeh hatinoik anim mispalo. I'm mispalo like a small child. I try to reach the mila of a small child. That's the way I daven. He said, before I tell him, I think about the spheres, or when I tell him, what was the Queen of Margaret? Queen of Margaret is over here. He said, over here. What was with him? Shimon ben Shetzer said about him, I can't do anything against you. You're keben ha-mishchatei b'fnei ovir. What is a mishchatei? He says, listen over, here I am. That's it, finished. So his father said, oh, this is my son. If you mitchatei b'fnei ovir, he does anything for you. The same thing when you say moide ani, it's the same basic idea. And that's the union of what the Rebbe brings nitzoch in the go. Oh, that's moide ani, and that's the Rebbe. That's the Ike union, what the Rebbe's brought into the world. The whole union of Lamayla, Mitar V'das, completely beyond the Oilamas, to the Das Zehatinah. The Rebbe's got a lot of footnotes about it. And he holds that that's the Ike Atfilah Bezmanim. It does this in, and that's the whole the pshitas of the Kohen Etzochim. When you think about it, it's mind-boggling. The Kohen Etzochim of the soldier is the same thing, exactly the same thing. It looks very poshut, but it sure is tremendously high. He's just a simple soldier, but he's the one that gets the job done. At the same year, the Moedia looks like the words that don't have any shame on it. Because of that, it's the Dover Haki Elian, Ev Shaliyah. But Ulai Yesh Lima. You'll figure me out to finish on, not funny one. But I'm just so excited by this whole thing that maybe that's what the Ibn Ezra writes at the beginning of the Megillah Esther. And he said that there's no shame of Hashem in the whole Megillah Esther. Doesn't mention. So, he tries to answer a couple of Pirushim. I was saying, comes along the Rebbe, and the Rebbe said, yeah, because it's so high that it's beyond all the statements. Yeah, that's the Megillah. Therefore, it's not because it's just a portion of the story, because it's so high that you can't mention the shameless of it. So, it matters, it's all the same basic principle. It's all the same amazing inyan of the pshitas of the Kohen Nitzochim and the Echadasar, and the only way is through what Yisrael did, the Vaidoah. After you that, you go to the Vaya, Kohen, that's it. Oh. Now he's the leader of the whole world. Israel now we can have mutton Torah. Oh, I saw it. Was it the Kesher? That's the whole thing. And therefore, that's what the Rebbe Be'ika, has brought into the whole world. Like he said, you bring into the world, not just into yourself, you bring into the whole world. But this whole idea of not reckoning with any holdbacks. The Rebbe doesn't know anything about that. A holdback or a door is somewhere in the world. The Rebbe doesn't know about it. It doesn't exist. It's not there in the Rebbe's lexicon. Doesn't exist. Why? Because if you bound up to the Kohen Atzmi, Shebeneita, Pnimius HaKesef, or L'maylam is there. And who had v'lei b'chushban, no cheshbainas. They don't sit around making cheshbainas, they just give. They just keep pouring out. Yeah. And that's enough of very nice. That's what the Rebbe is married in the Basi Lagani, Shtuz, the Kedusha. What is Shtuz? Also. No cheshbainas. We got to win at every cost. And that's what he brings at the end, the whole uniform, the soldier and Kohen Eiter. And the shores of that in the Eiter, Shalom Ayla. And you get it directly. It's not Isaruz de la Tata, Isaruz de la Leila. It's a direct Messina from the Eiter. That's what he says. Okay. So everybody will understand me. I haven't been so unfortunately, and I'm just. But anyway, whatever. Hashem will. He's a hard taskmaster. He doesn't. He doesn't recommend anything.
It's quite somewhere.
Pick it on the bottom.
On the bottom? I see.
When I came the first time, the 770, it was in the night time when I saw this Farbrengen, I saw the Rebbe come down and say, "Mine," and that was the first time I ever saw the Rebbe.
When?
The first time I ever saw the Rebbe, in Doshin Kov. I wouldn't tell the story if you come. Anyway, the next day is already another day. So I came in there. How you doing now, my son? Very good. You've clapped around because I'm already going home.
Oh, okay. Catch
anyway,
the best part of the
but you clapped around. So I had to go to 770. I've never been there in my life before. I come in with my dollars and all of a sudden you got just a couple of days before Rosh Hashanah. So the whole place is alive. Here's a minyan, here people are praying, oh man, here's there's minyanim, and here there's people, and here there's guys learning, and here there's guys pilfering with one another, and here. That's a whole huge, sort of. I sort of walk in there and I think to myself, I didn't know anybody in particular, except for Baba, but he wasn't there. But so I thought to myself, what do I do here? How do I find a mate? So all of a sudden I bang into a bocher, not a Talmud of mine, but a bocher that had been in Tomchei Tmimim when I first started mamish working. So it was even before I started working, even before. I started working in yeshiva, and we did a little bit of a shaykhs together. So to my great relief, I see somebody that I know, So I walk up to him and he gives me shalom aleichem, nice to see you here. And, he's sort of giving me a pat on my shoulder and everything. So I said to him, I'm used to my classical Yiddish. I said to him in Yiddish, "Was machst du?" That means, what are you, how are you doing? How are you? That's your way in Yiddish. So he says, "Was mach ich?" He said, "What am I making?" He said, "Du mach man gar nichts." He said, "Du mach man gar nichts." What on earth does he mean? What was Makor? He said, I'm new to all this here, So all of a sudden he said, "One sind mit Soldaten." And he said, "Wir haben die größte göttliche General." He says to me in Yiddish. He said, "The Parshas Soldat, macht gar nichts. The General macht, Und macht, macht nicht, macht der General. He said, he doesn't really do it, the general does it, just that he does it. He said, dafür uns machen wir nicht keine Cheshboines. He said, we don't make around here any Cheshboines. So when you think about it, we don't make any Cheshboines. That is Antu Chad V'lei B'chuzban. Antu Chad V'lei B'chuzban. That's the Pshitas Ha'atzmas. And he doesn't make any Cheshboines. V'lei B'chuzban means he's not in the whole side of his thousand. But Parshas Loi B'chuzban means he doesn't interfere with Cheshboines. All being for Cheshboines. So he said, that's the way we are here. You follow? He said, you know, my eyes jumped out. I thought, I've just walked into 770. I haven't known, I don't know where I'm going to daven, I don't know where I'm going to find a place or whatever, but I already know where I am, you know. And I heard those few words from that book, and you just see how the Eberster runs the world. I had to hear those few words from him. And he said, we don't make any cheshbon, the general does, we just do it, but the general does it. That put me, you know, in the right etiquette. I was in the right sort of little track, you know. So I was able to find myself a place, I was able to do it. Then later I went out to the street looking for somewhere to have a little something to be toyed. And I met up with another couple of guys that I knew them from Chabad, and I began to feel very, you know, part of the whole thing. The first thing I heard in 770 is the Dov Mahmoud Goni. He said, we don't make anything, he made. And we just do the action of what he made. Where does he get it from? Antu Chad V'lei B'chuzban. No Cheshbonos. Nitzua, Koyach Nitzua. Philip yeah. That was after I'd seen the river in the night time, for the first time I'd seen the river. No. That helped me to find the right way. And later on there was a big, you know, Rosh Hashanah, wow, did we see the river? We saw him. And by the Koshel Bracha, I told you the story, you know, with the nest that I have with the Koshel Bracha and everything. This mamish, not to be believed. By the Maimah, the river was mamish oyum, you know. There was a year of Pachot Neuro, you know, the Milo, Atron Saints of the Shastamah. Later by the Koshel Bracha, it was unbelievable, the change, you know. And the river looked at the Bochum, they were dancing, you know, beyond their koyhes, you know. All of a sudden the river looked up on the human. I said, that's, you know, that's dancing, that's him. So the river went like this with his hands, you know. So the Bochum just went absolutely, they were jumping up and down, everything. They sort of looked at him and would say, yeah. Yeah. The river's here and I'm just here. And when the river went like that, he almost knocked me off the... If I'd have been standing a little bit closer, I might have got knocked off. Wow. What is of a stone they're looking?
Building full of power.
Yeah. So,
Chaim.
I haven't been well, so anyway.